Okay, friends, our speaker today is somebody who leads an exciting life. She told me today, just coming on over here, there's excitement. I mean, come on. What can you do when you live out there on the ranch? Anyway, she is somebody with a lot of heart. She's going to tell us about that today. Reverend Joyce Zorger.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, everybody. I feel so privileged to be here. The song, my gosh, having to speak after that song, you are always there, even when you get old. You know, I'm feeling. Thank you, thank you. I watched a movie last night. By the way, Zoom people, blessings to you and good morning to you. I'm glad you're here as well. Anyway, this movie was recommended by a good friend of mine that I've known for years and years, and she said this movie on Netflix is called Eleanor the Great, and if you have not seen it, I saw it last night, and this is a woman who's 94 years old that did the acting in this, and if she could do that, I can do this talking this morning. I'm not quite there yet, but I see Jan is here and supporting me too. We're kind of running neck and neck, and I'm just so happy to be here and seeing all these fresh and lovely faces, and so many, I feel so energized. I walked in this room, and me being an Aries personality, my energy level just rose, and then trying to get this headgear on was just so glad I had Bill and also Joe to help me do that, especially Bill. He seems to know exactly how to fit it around my ears. I didn't wear earrings because I didn't want them to get caught on the earrings, but anyway, I do have a talk this morning, and I hope to get to it. It's in my book here. I brought along a book that I just love, and if you haven't read it yet, it's fairly new. Mary Davis, she was one of the, for the guides in the Science of Mind magazine a couple of months ago, and she did the guides, and she's, so talented, and she's very new thought, very, feels so right with unity and with Science of Mind, religious science, but I would like to read a section. That's where I got my talk. Love is the road. Actually, I did a talk years ago, back in 2000, I think it was 2008, I did a talk, and the talk was on love is the answer. And I thought, I recall saying, whatever the question, love is the answer. And then I heard Lily Tomlin, her response to this was, if love is the answer, will you please reframe the question? So... And I like that. I have a sense of humor, and that helps me get through the ups and downs of my life. And coming here this morning, I told Brian, I said it was more of a challenge. I leave plenty early in time, but I never know what I'm going to see on the road coming in, on High Mountain Road out beyond Lake Lopez. And there were bicycle riders everywhere, and I think they're probably getting ready for the big triathlon comes in March, where they do running, bike riding, and swimming. And it's... lots and lots of people. They close the road down. You just don't want to get out on the road when they're on the road. But my talk is love is the road, and I like what St. Augustine said: love and do what you want. And I think what he was saying was to live life fully while stepping softly around the hearts of others. And I like that feeling that I have, that love is so important. That word is such an important word in my life. And it's that what I say to myself is what I'm doing or thinking, loving to myself and others. And I think as I am moving through this life, I have to remember my thoughts. Are they being kind to myself? Are my thoughts kind to who I am? And I remember and think about any thoughts that might come into my mind. Is this what you really want to believe? And then so I work on that and move through that. There was this book on January 5th. I'm going to read you some of what was said on January 5th, because that's what changed my talk title from Love is the Answer to Love is the Road. And this is what she wrote. I have it in here too. So the road to ourselves is part paved and part uncharted. It's raw and rocky and full of surprises, especially after it rains. I identified with that very much. As you know, my property was flooded out back in 2023. It's also covered in natural beauty, and I know this too. It's also covered in natural beauty that awaits the joy of discovery. On this road, there are no wrong turns. The purpose of the adventure is not to accomplish or to please others, but to get to the very heart of ourselves, which has always been love and always will be love, because love is the road. Love is the road, and all that we experience in this life, we move through it with grace and ease, and with a sense of what I say, what I do. Is this loving myself? Is this love that I am loving each and every person that I meet on this road? As well as my animals too. You know, I live out on a ranch. I have many horses and dogs and cats and birds. And yesterday I was feeling a little overwhelmed with just life in general. And I just went out on the porch. I don't do this very often. I don't rest enough. And when I was at the wonderful women's group on Friday, and we did, and Lynn arranged for us to have a wonderful vision board, make vision boards. And that really, doing things like that craft, it was just reminded me how fun, taking time to do these crafts, how important that is. And this is what I keep telling myself every New Year's. I think of myself and think, I've got to have more time where I can just enjoy the fun of life. And I used to ride my horses, and that gave me such pleasure, such joy, and I don't ride anymore. And I think that one of my horses is too old, and the other one is just too unpredictable, and I can't trust them. But I do still feed them, and even though they are, especially that one guy can be a problem. But anyway, that was my life. I was a cowgirl. I had horses from the time I was a little girl of 11 years old. And I got my first horse for $50. My dad bought that for me, and I'll never forget my horse Sally. And then it went into pony rides. I had 13 ponies, ran a pony ride. Everything I did evolved around horses. And that's, you know, I've kind of lost, I feel like I've lost my identity. You know, when life changes, our identity, we have to establish an identity that we can live with and love ourselves through, and know that it's all okay. It's all part, aging with attitude, gratitude, and fortitude. And I may talk about that someday, because the fortitude is something that we need to really give ourselves, that do what we can, eat the right kind of food like Chris has been doing and encouraging us all to do, and eating the right kind of food to make our bodies stronger and moving through, and so that when I'm 94, that I could actually be an actress somewhere in a movie, perhaps. I love that movie, so watch it. She's pretty amazing. I love it. Eleanor the Great, it's called, on Netflix, and it's free. No, it's not. Eleanor is the name of the woman, her part in the movie. Her name was Eleanor. I thought it was her too, yeah. But anyway, watch it. How many of you saw the movie? Yeah, it was out in the theaters not very long ago. And now it's free, and you can see it on Netflix. So on Netflix, yeah. So that's pretty amazing. How many things are free these days, right? Okay. I remember this Nancy Johnson has been a good friend for many years, and her mother, Joanne Johnson, Reverend Joanne Johnson, was my teacher during my practitioner studies back in the early 90s. And she's now going through some challenges with Alzheimer's, dementia, and she's moving out of this particular lifetime. And I think she's probably 93 or 94 now, Joanne Johnson. She's just a sweetheart. And we used to come to church together. I'd pick her up, and we'd come for many, many years. In the other church that I belonged to, Center for Creative Thought, she was very active there. And then she came here too, and I would pick her up and bring her here because she stopped driving. But anyway, she and I would go out to lunch afterwards, and she was just such a mentor to me. And I remember a real troubling time in my married life that I was sharing some of the challenges that I was having in my marriage, and she told me about this. She said, she quoted this poem by by Edwin Markham. And I love this poem, and I wrote this down to read to you. It's called The Wit to Win. And it goes this way. He drew a circle that shut me out. Heretic, rebel, a thing to flout. But love and I had the wit to win. We drew a larger circle and took him in. And that, I've always loved that. I've always loved that. How many of you have heard that one before? It's worth quoting. It's worth remembering. And I do believe that people respond to us according to our recognition of the divine in them, our recognition of who you are. And who you are is that beautiful divine expression that we are each a part of and continue on through our lifetimes, many lifetimes, I believe. I'm learning that when I am able to relinquish my active or reactive emotions or angry rebuttals, and that I don't have that much anymore, but I did in my early married life. There were more active emotion and growing up. I think most of you know I was married for nearly 64 years. And people look at me and say, you must have married when you were in high school or maybe even earlier. But I was, and I said to someone the other day, I have not lived alone in my life. I went from my mother and father's home to marry John at the age of 20 and had 3 children by the time I was 25. People did this back then. Maybe you don't remember that, but that's the way things were back then. It's changed a lot now, but I'm happy with the life I've lived, and I remember I've always been very close to God. That's why I love that song, the song. I felt like from the time I was a little girl, I think I shared with most of you that when I was a little girl, there was a church down the road from me, just a couple of blocks away, and I would go myself when I was 6, 7, 8 years old, by myself to church. My parents didn't go. They went Easter and Christmas, maybe, but that was then, and that was I'll talk. Speaking on Easter Sunday, I can't believe that I have this. This is a major day here, with all of you here, and the wonderful connection that we're having. And connection, I wanted to say, that connection was the word that I put on my chart, my vision board. The word connection, because that's what we're doing now. We're connecting. We're connecting in love, and we're moving through our lives with this beautiful connection. And you're just, this is such a loving family. And I just think of you so often, and I miss when I am not here in person. I know that I can be on Zoom, and that's a great advantage. Sometimes if it's raining real hard and I have landslides out where I live, I don't want to hit the road on those kinds of days, and I go on Zoom. But I think I mentioned when Jeannie was talking about her sister that had a heart attack, and no one knew it for a couple of days. And I said, if I'm not either on Zoom or here, call me, because I don't want to be laying there on the floor with my dogs around me. I worry about them more than and making sure that they have something to eat. And I see you brought your little dog in, and I see this little dog, and I think when you brought the little dog in, I thought, I should bring Toby and Lucy in here. They would be all over the place. They are now 8 years old. Finally, I was smart enough to follow my family's advice in putting hot wire around the backyard fence. And that's the only thing that they have respected now, and they stay in the yard. And the first time I put it in, or had my neighbor help me put it in, Toby, the next day, he must have touched it, and I didn't want him. It's very lightweight. It's not too powerful, but it's enough to make them stay away from the fence, because there's wires going all around in the backyard. Well, he didn't want to come out of the garage. He stayed in the garage. And I worried that I just did something to his vim and vigor. He just didn't have that anymore. He stayed in the garage, and when I took him out, because I take them out twice a day and walk them they each get an hour and 2 hours of freedom, but not together. But he would walk out, and he was just he was so guarded, but he'll get over that. But they respect it now, and they've stayed in. And when I come home from church, I know that they're still in the yard, and that it gives me comfort, I worry about them, and I was finding that I was in so much stress. Stress is adding to my level of stress, and I thought, I don't need this. I need to do something, and I really avoided doing that for the longest time. But anyway, let me get back to my talk here. Sorry, excuse me while I get a drink of water. I am this way. This is who I am. Let's see, where was I? Oh, I wanted to talk about Joel Goldsmith, one of my favorite persons to read about. When we master the principle of oneness and it becomes a conviction deep within us, in that oneness, the lion and the lamb can lie down together. And that's kind of like when I feel that with my relationship with John, because he was so totally different than I am. He was an engineer. What could I say? He was an engineer, and I was a teacher most of my life. But we got together and we really did harmonize most of the time. But we had our difficult days. But I remember reading, and that's where I probably the words that I love are please be still, peace be still. And I tell myself, peace be still. And taking a deep breath, breathing in, I calm my body and my mind, and breathing out, I smile. For dwelling in the present moment, I know this is the only moment, and this was a prayer I would say. Breathing in, I calm my body and my mind. Breathing out, I smile. Dwelling in this present moment, I know this is the only moment. So you have to have these words that you can grab and know that they will help settle the thinking, settle the mind, because our mind can go off, my mind can go off into tangents, and I just have to know that I have the strength, I have the connection with the higher power, my God, within me, that divine source within me, guides me and directs me and helps me to know, always helps me to know what to do, what to say, and how to be. So anyway, I wanted to say about, with John, there was I think I skipped a page. No, I didn't. You wouldn't have known that anyway, but anyway. Anyway, there was something I wanted to say. Let's see, where am I here? Oh, I talked about agape. I wanted to say about agape love. Do you know that there's a agape church? Beckwith, Michael Beckwith, yes. Agape is God's love that arises from the abundance and seeks nothing from its object. I love the word, the name of the church being agape. That's such a beautiful name. It is born of grace and allows us to see with our hearts. It is our human outpouring of connected empathy. It is reverence for the vulnerable soul of another. Connected with empathy. I think that's important, those two words, connected with empathy. There's a song that I recall, and I talked to Jen and Nina, I talked to Nina about maybe having this song sung, but they're such professionals, and they said, well, this is not a song that they would like to practice it first because they haven't sung it before, but it's called I Love Myself the Way I Am, and it's a song that Louise Hay made popular back in the 70s and 80s during the heyday, her time, the hayride, to help people to cultivate a self-love and self-acceptance. I remember that. I do remember the 70s and 80s very well. But anyway, I appreciate you even thinking about that, Nina, because Nina just came from LA. You drove out from LA to be here this morning, and I'm amazed that, this is amazing, yeah. This takes dedication because and then she also had dental work that she had to do, and I told her on my email back to her when she said that she didn't have time to practice this song to be able to sing it today, and she said, well, she had dental work, and she was going to LA, and I said, and driving home from LA on Sunday morning, and I said, I think I'd rather have dental work than driving home from LA on Sunday morning. I used to live there. I used to live in Orange County for 40 years, and I came here, and I've lived here for 28 years. Putting all these years together, you know that I'm getting up there. I could be in a movie. You stick around because you are my mentor, my role model. You truly are. I love your talks and your stories. At least you stick to your stories. I just jump around too much. I just don't know where I go sometimes. But anyway, I wrote these things down, and I want to share them with you. I think they're good. I spend a lot of time on my talks. Many of us really tell the people closest to us how we feel about them. We rationalize that they already know how we feel about them. The harder it is to say, I love you, the more we need to say it. And the more our special others need to hear it. And I remember a time when John's mother passed away, and she was only 57 when she passed away. We were driving home from her memorial, and John was in I was driving, he was really in a bad place and thinking about his mother. And he said, I don't think I've ever told my mother that I love you. And he was really feeling sad about that. But that event with his mother passing on, from then on, he always would let me know, I love you. The daughters and people that he cared about, he would tell them, I love you, because he remembered how badly he felt when his mom passed away without her knowing that. But I know she knew that because she was born, she had 5 sisters, and then they had a boy, the last child, her youngest brother, my husband's mother. And so she really, boys were very special. And when John was born, he was the first. She had a daughter, and then she had John. And he was spoiled rotten, I'm sure. That was my husband. And I know that, almost 64 years, I stayed with that man. And I've learned a lot with that relationship. And I grew from it, too. And I think that all of you who are struggling in a relationship, you can grow from those relationships. And I don't regret a moment. Where was I now? Okay, there's a quote by, I can never pronounce her name correctly, Pierre Teilhard de Chardin. Chardin. Can you pronounce it for me, Jen? Would you say it for me? Pierre Teilhard de Chardin. Okay, well, what she said was, when I married a couple years ago, and this is what I said to them that she had written. It was something she had written. Love alone, I love this too, love alone is capable of uniting living beings in such a way as to complete and fulfill them, for it alone takes them and joins them by what is deepest in themselves. So that, I think this unity and 5 cities and San Luis Obispo, I just think that this is just a beautiful unity of love coming together, because this is such a loving community, such a beautiful family of love and community and connection. And so I know that this is just going to be a beautiful expression of moving through life in the perfect divine right order. And so in closing, I know that we have a lot to do today. So in closing, may you appreciate the gift of love that you each are. You each are such a gift of love. I just look around this room and I get overwhelmed with the love that I feel. So where am I? If you are having a day when you cannot do this, connect with someone who can help you remember. Someone who can see the beauty in you when you can't see it for yourself. Someone who can see your shining star and can love you just the way you are. Can see your shining star and can love you just the way you are. So I leave you with these thoughts by Reverend Dr. Ernest Holmes. I listen with complete faith and trust to the voice of love guiding me today. I accept the abundant good that flows easily and freely to me. In return, I am loving and generous to all others, knowing that we are joined in spirit. My whole mind is open to the divine influx of joy, love, wisdom, and guidance. And so it is. Thank you very much. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you. Oh, I forgot to say, and that is my message this morning, because that's what I always say. And that is my message this morning.